In today's world, we're fed the idea that attachment is love, that holding on to someone tightly is the only way to keep them close. But what if that's all wrong? What if you could be completely free, unshaken by anyone's actions, and so confident in your own value that no one's approval or rejection could break you? Today, I'm about to show you the path to real, unbreakable freedom. We're diving into 10 Stoic habits that could transform your life, liberating you from emotional dependency once and for all. And there's a bonus rule for those who stick with me to the end. Let's break free from everything that's holding you down. Too many people today are chained by their emotions, prisoners to the need for approval, clinging to people who don't treat them right. The good news: freedom is within reach. Stoic philosophy, with teachings from thinkers like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, has given us tools for true inner peace. Today, we're diving deep into 10 Stoic habits to detach emotionally and regain control. This is more than just letting go. It's about owning your peace. And for those of you who stay till the end, I've got a bonus insight. One final rule to take you to a new level of personal strength. So, if you're ready to finally put yourself first and experience life on your own terms, type "I'm ready" in the comments below. Now let's get started. Number 1. The power of detachment. The more you try to hold on, the more you lose yourself. In today's world, people cling to relationships, praise, or attention as if they're lifelines. Society pushes us to think that holding on to people, seeking constant validation, or finding fulfillment in others is not only normal but necessary for happiness. But here's the reality. Every time you place your happiness in someone else's hands, you give them control over your entire emotional state. Think about it. If you let someone's texts, responses, or attention dictate your mood, are you really in control? Or are you letting them play the role of the main character in your story while you remain a supporting actor? Detachment, according to Stoic philosophy, isn't about ignoring people or cutting them out. It's about reclaiming control over your own emotions. Picture yourself as the steady center of your life, unwavering, grounded. When someone tries to push, pull, or sway you, you remain calm. This is the essence of Epictetus's famous teaching. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Detachment allows you to feel deeply, care genuinely, and connect authentically without being shaken by the ups and downs that inevitably come with relationships. You become the rock in a storm, the steady anchor that doesn't drift, unshaken by the tides of someone else's changing mood. Every time you feel that spike of anxiety because someone hasn't responded, ask yourself, why does this bother me? Am I giving them control over my happiness? Replace the urge to check your phone with something grounding, a walk, journaling, or deep breathing. Practice observing the impulse without acting on it. Every time you resist the urge to check for validation, you're building emotional muscle, reclaiming a piece of yourself. Think of it as choosing peace over dependence, fulfillment over fleeting approval. Start small, with one unreturned text, one unmade call. Over time, these moments lose their power, and you gain yours back. Number 2. Understanding attachment. This is one of the hardest truths to accept, yet one of the most liberating. Society loves to romanticize attachment, to make us think that needing someone intensely is an expression of love, a way of showing devotion. But what if it's actually a prison? Attachment is born out of fear, the fear of losing someone, of being alone, of not being enough without someone else validating you. We often confuse attachment with affection, but real love doesn't need to cling. Real love flows freely, while attachment chains us down. Seneca said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Imagine that your happiness isn't contingent on whether someone stays or goes, on whether they say the words you long to hear or act in the way you expect. Imagine a world where you could care without needing, give without expecting, love without losing yourself. This is the freedom that detachment offers. When you stop wanting others to fill your gaps, you're no longer vulnerable to the highs and lows of other people's choices. You free yourself, knowing that your worth is untouched by the presence or absence of others. Every time you feel that familiar urge to reach out for reassurance, ask yourself, what am I hoping to receive from them that I can give to myself? Is it validation, a sense of worth, approval? Write down one affirmation that fulfills that need. Example, I am valuable as I am. Practice affirming yourself daily. Over time, you'll discover that the power of attachment begins to loosen. You don't need others to validate your worth when you understand that it's already there. Number 3. The illusion of control. One of the biggest traps in life is the belief that we can control others' actions, thoughts, and feelings. We think, if only I do this, they'll finally love me, or if I'm just a bit more like that, they'll stay. But here's the reality. Control is an illusion. Trying to control how others see you, how they react, or whether they stay or go, is like holding sand in your fist. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips away. Relationships don't work by control. They thrive in freedom. Control may feel safe, but it's actually an exhausting path to constant worry and frustration. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, tells us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Recognizing this can be a tough pill to swallow, but it's also incredibly liberating. When you let go of the need to control, you regain the power over your own emotional well-being. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care in a way that doesn't depend on someone else's unpredictable behavior. It's choosing to be okay, regardless of what others do. The next time you find yourself strategizing how to get someone's attention or approval, take a step back. Recognize this for what it is, an attempt to control an outcome that's not yours to control. Instead, focus on what you can influence, your thoughts, your actions, and your self-perception. If they don't text back, remind yourself that you're still valuable. Decide not to let someone else's response dictate your peace. By doing this, you reclaim your power from the illusion of control. Number 4, detachment in practice. Picture holding onto a rope with all your strength, your hands sore and red from the strain. Every part of you thinks, if I let go, I'll fall. But here's the truth. Letting go is often the only way to find balance. Detachment isn't about giving up. It's about choosing freedom over suffering. It's realizing that the pain of holding on is far greater than the discomfort of letting go. Detachment doesn't make you cold or indifferent. It makes you unshakable. It's about understanding that you don't need anyone else to complete you. You are already whole. When you detach, you become someone who can love fully without losing yourself, who can give without expecting anything in return, who can care without letting it consume you. You are free to connect, to be vulnerable, without chaining your happiness to someone else's presence. This is the true meaning of strength, not the ability to hold on, but the courage to let go. Identify one area in your life where you're holding on too tightly. This could be a relationship, a goal, or a specific person's opinion. Challenge yourself to take a small step toward letting go. For example, give someone the space they need, or focus on your own interests rather than obsessing over how you're perceived. Gradually, you'll realize that letting go isn't the end, it's a beginning. You start living on your own terms, guided by your values, rather than chained to someone else's actions. Number 5, path to inner happiness. Happiness isn't something you find in others. It's something you cultivate within. Society sells us the idea that happiness is somewhere out there, a person, a place, a relationship. But Stoicism teaches a radically different approach. Happiness is not something that anyone else can give or take away. True happiness is born from inner peace, from knowing that you are whole in yourself, complete without needing anyone's approval. Happiness found in others is fragile, but happiness rooted in self-worth is unbreakable. Epictetus tells us, happiness is not in getting what you want, but in wanting what you have. Imagine the freedom that comes from knowing that your happiness is yours to create, that no one can take it from you. When you stop searching for happiness outside yourself, you stop putting conditions on it. You realize that happiness is an internal state, cultivated by gratitude, by simplicity, by contentment with what already is. Imagine a life where whether someone stays or goes, you remain at peace, because your happiness is not tied to them, but to your own appreciation of life. Every day, make a list of 3 things you're grateful for. Focus on the simple things: a good meal, a moment of silence, the feeling of a warm shower. These may seem small, but this practice grounds you in the present, training your mind to find joy in what you have, rather than constantly chasing what you don't. As you do this regularly, you'll notice a shift. You'll realize that happiness was never outside of you. It was always within, waiting for you to see it. Number 6. Embrace the present. How much of our time is spent replaying old conversations, wishing we'd said something differently, or planning for what might go wrong in the future? The reality is, the only place we have power is in the present moment. Imagine if, for just one day, you could let go of every what if and if only thought and focus solely on what's happening right now. Marcus Aurelius put it best: confine yourself to the present. The Stoics understood that to live fully is to be present. When you're present, you're not held back by regrets or paralyzed by anxieties. You're free to appreciate what's around you, to actually live. This doesn't mean ignoring the future or forgetting the past, but it does mean refusing to let them control your happiness. Embracing the present means giving up the illusion of perfect timing and instead finding joy in today. Create a daily habit of mindfulness. Each morning, take 5 minutes to ground yourself. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and simply observe what's around you: the sounds, the temperature, the sensations. Throughout your day, practice noticing moments without judgment. If you're having a meal, focus on the taste, texture, and temperature of each bite. Practicing presence in the small moments teaches your mind to let go of unnecessary worry and live fully right where you are. Number 7. Reframe your thoughts. Your mind is a mirror. Whatever you tell yourself, you'll see reflected in reality. Thoughts are incredibly powerful. They shape how we feel, act, and live. But too often, we let our thoughts run unchecked. We accept every negative belief as truth, even when it's based on nothing more than fear. The Stoics teach that our thoughts are tools we can control. If your mind constantly tells you, "I'm not good enough," "I need someone to complete me," or "I'll never be happy without them," you're building a prison of your own making. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Imagine if you could paint your mind with confidence, strength, and resilience instead of doubt and fear. This isn't about ignoring reality. It's about choosing the reality that empowers you. By consciously reframing your thoughts, you're breaking free from the patterns that limit you. Start a thought journal. Each time a negative or limiting thought enters your mind, write it down. Then, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this absolutely true? Then, reframe it. For example, if you wrote, "I need them to feel whole," reframe it as, "I am complete as I am." Practice this daily. Over time, your mind will start to lean toward empowering thoughts naturally, and you'll experience a shift in how you view yourself and others. Number 8. Set healthy boundaries. Boundaries are the limits we set to protect our peace. Many of us fear setting boundaries because we're afraid of pushing people away, of being seen as selfish or cold. But the reality is, boundaries are a way to honor ourselves and our energy. Imagine you're a house with an open door. People come in and out whenever they want, and over time, your space becomes cluttered, loud, and overwhelming. Boundaries are like the door lock. They're not meant to keep everyone out, but to ensure that only those who respect you are invited in. When you set boundaries, you're showing the world that you respect yourself, and you're teaching others to do the same. Saying no when something feels wrong isn't rejection. It's a powerful affirmation that your peace and energy matter. Think about this. Every yes you give to someone else is a no you give to yourself. So, where will you draw the line? Begin by identifying one boundary you need to establish, whether it's time for yourself, limiting communication with someone, or deciding when you're available to help others. Practice setting this boundary with kindness but firmness. For example, if you need time to recharge, you might say, "I appreciate you reaching out, but I'll be available after 7 p.m. This way, you're respectful while also standing up for your needs. The more you do this, the easier it becomes, and others will start respecting your space. Number 9. Engage in self-care. In today's world, self-care often gets oversimplified to mean pampering yourself. While relaxation is part of it, self-care is much deeper. It's the ongoing practice of maintaining your mental, physical, and emotional health. Imagine trying to keep a car running without ever refueling it. Eventually, it breaks down. Our bodies and minds work the same way. Without regular self-care, we become depleted, stressed, and reactive. Seneca reminds us, "A sound mind in a sound body is a short but full description of a happy state." Self-care is about fueling yourself so that you can show up as your best self, both for yourself and others. It's about building resilience so that you're not dependent on anyone else to fill your needs. When you prioritize self-care, you're sending a powerful message to yourself that you are worthy of love, rest, and respect. Start simple. Choose one activity each day that replenishes you, whether it's reading, taking a walk, practicing gratitude, or even just enjoying a peaceful moment alone. Schedule it like an appointment with yourself and protect it fiercely. Over time, these small acts of self-care will add up, and you'll feel less inclined to seek validation or fulfillment outside of yourself. You'll become your own source of peace and energy. Number 10. Practice gratitude. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. In a world that's constantly telling us we need more love, more success, more things, it's easy to feel like we're never enough. But here's the truth. Gratitude is the antidote to this endless cycle of dissatisfaction. When you practice gratitude, you're training your mind to see abundance instead of scarcity. You're choosing to see the beauty in what already exists. Epictetus teaches, "Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not." Imagine if instead of focusing on what's missing, you focused on what's present. Gratitude doesn't ignore challenges, it reframes them. Instead of seeing a lack, it sees potential. It's a mindset that says, "I already have enough, and I am enough." When you start practicing gratitude, you'll find that you're not as dependent on others for happiness because you're already complete in yourself. Each evening, list 3 things you're grateful for that happened that day. They can be small: a warm shower, a good conversation, or a favorite song. The goal isn't to make grand gestures, but to shift your focus to the present abundance in your life. With time, this habit will strengthen your resilience and help you see the world and yourself with more compassion. If you've made it this far, congratulations, you're already ahead of 99% of people out there. And you have proved to be a true Stoic, someone who seeks depth in wisdom and understanding. And here is an extra bonus tip just for you. Bonus number 11. Embrace change as growth. The only constant in life is change. Change is one of the hardest things for us to accept, yet it's inevitable. We often resist it because it feels safer to hold on to the familiar, even if it's not what's best for us. But here's a radical truth. The more you welcome change, the more you grow. Each new experience, every transition, every ending and beginning is a chance to expand and become stronger. Seneca said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." Change isn't a loss, it's an opportunity. Imagine seeing change as a door opening rather than one closing. When you stop resisting change, you allow life to bring you new opportunities, people, and experiences that are meant to help you grow. Embracing change doesn't mean you won't feel fear or sadness. It means you trust that there's something valuable on the other side. The next time you face a change, whether it's a new job, a breakup, or even a shift in routine, take a moment to acknowledge it. Write down one positive thing that could come from this change. Then, think of one small action you can take to embrace it, like exploring new opportunities, meeting new people, or trying something you've been putting off. Over time, you'll become more adaptable, resilient, and open to life's possibilities. Emotional freedom isn't just about avoiding pain. It's about building a life where you are your own source of strength, happiness, and peace. By practicing these Stoic principles, detachment, gratitude, self-care, and presence, you're reclaiming control over your life. This journey isn't about rejecting others, but about discovering that your happiness and peace are within you, not dependent on anyone else. If you found these insights valuable, please consider supporting our channel by subscribing or joining our channel memberships if you're able. Each bit of support helps keep this content accessible to everyone who needs it. Together, we can share the journey toward emotional freedom and resilience with more people.